What if I told you that every February, the world goes into a billion-dollar frenzy? Cards flying, flower prices doubling, chocolate vanishing off shelves. Yet the whole thing traces back to a 3rd century Roman story that's far more about defiance, imprisonment, and execution than romance. And here's the bigger question for us as Bible-believing Christians. Do we really need to tie our expression of love to one calendar day? Especially one that carries echoes of ancient pagan festivals, Roman imperial politics, and traditions not found anywhere in Scripture? Scripture's answer is clear: no. True, Christ-centered love doesn't wait for a holiday to be activated. It flows constantly from a heart changed by the gospel, and it's meant to show up in our homes, relationships, and daily lives, every single day of the year. Let's cut straight to the history. No fluff. In the 3rd century, under Emperor Claudius II, Rome was fighting wars on multiple fronts. Claudius decided single men made better soldiers, fewer attachments, less reason to hesitate in battle. So he issued a shocking decree: no more marriages for soldiers. Love was effectively outlawed for the army. A man believed to have been a Roman priest named Valentine, or Valentinus, refused to comply. He continued to secretly perform wedding ceremonies for young soldiers and their brides. When authorities discovered what he was doing, he was arrested, thrown into prison, and later executed around AD 270. One popular legend claims that while in prison, he formed a bond with the jailer's daughter and wrote her a farewell note, signing it something along the lines of, "From your Valentine." That's the supposed origin of the modern Valentine card. Another version says his crime was aiding Christians escape Roman persecution. Either way, he paid the ultimate price for standing on principle. Mid-February eventually became linked to his memory. Some historians suggest the early church chose that timing to overlap and gradually displace the old Roman festival of Lupercalia, a raucous pagan celebration tied to fertility, matchmaking, and ritual purification. Over the centuries, the day shifted and grew. By the 1800s in America, Esther Howland turned handmade lace and ribbon cards into a commercial success. Today, nearly 1 billion Valentine's cards are sent each year, second only to Christmas. Women purchase about 85% of them, and the holiday fuels a massive industry of flowers, candy, jewelry, and dinners. The world has turned love into a seasonal event, something you do on February 14th. But as followers of Christ who hold Scripture as our sole authority, this is where we must anchor ourselves as we take a moment to refocus our hearts on 7 biblical truths about real love, remembering that the Bible never mentions February 14th, never references Valentine as someone to commemorate, and never instructs us to reserve expressions of love for a particular date, but instead reveals a far higher, more consistent, and more powerful standard of love that God calls us to live out every single day of the year. First, the Book of Song of Solomon presents an entire celebration of marital love filled with poetic passion, beauty, and intimacy, and it gives no hint that such love should wait for a special day to be expressed. Second, Ephesians 5:25 commands husbands to love their wives just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her, showing us that real love is sacrificial, daily, and ongoing, not a once-a-year gesture. Third, 1 John 3:18 reminds us that love must go beyond words when it says, "Dear children, let us not love with words or speech, but with actions and in truth," teaching that genuine love is demonstrated through consistent, faithful living. Fourth, Jesus honored marriage publicly when he turned water into wine at the wedding in Cana, as recorded in John chapter 2, verses 1 through 11. And his first miracle took place during a celebration of covenant union, not during a designated holiday. Fifth, the Apostle Paul urges believers in Romans 12:10 to be devoted to one another in love, and in Galatians 5:13 to serve one another humbly in love, giving commands that carry no calendar limitations and no seasonal restrictions. Sixth, the greatest love story in history never depended on a holiday, because Romans 5:8 declares that God demonstrated his own love for us in this: while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. And Hebrews 10:10 reveals that this once-for-all sacrifice remains available every moment of every day. Seventh, the early church lived out this kind of love even under intense persecution, not through special affection days, but by sharing meals. So when February 14th approaches, the real question isn't, is this allowed? Or, is it forbidden? The wiser, more spirit-led question is, does engaging with this day draw my heart closer to the love of Christ? Or am I simply drifting along with cultural momentum without discernment? Some believers might see a quiet family meal or a simple note as harmless, and even a chance to bless someone they love. Others feel genuine conviction about any association with a day that carries mixed historical roots. Both positions can be held with humility and grace, but neither should lead to pride, criticism, or division. Romans 14:5-6 puts it plainly: one person considers one day more sacred than another. Another considers every day alike. Each of them should be fully convinced in their own mind. Whoever regards one day as special does so to the Lord. The priority is unity in the gospel, not uniformity in practice. What's absolutely clear: we do not need the world's holiday schedule to obey God's command to love. Don't wait for February 14th to show you care. Speak life over your spouse today. Tell them specifically why you thank God for them. Surprise your children with kindness this week. Write a note in their lunch, give them extra hugs, pray blessings over them before bed. Reach out to a struggling friend right now. Send an encouraging text. Pick up the phone. Pray with them over a call. Visit an elderly family member this month. Bring a meal, share scripture, listen to their stories. Real love doesn't need a commercial date or societal permission. It doesn't require flowers that cost triple or chocolates that go on sale the next day. It flows naturally and freely from a heart saturated with the love of Christ. This February, instead of getting swept up in the cultural rush, take a quiet moment and ask the Lord, how can I love more like Jesus every single day? Because the love that matters most wasn't invented by any tradition, legend, or marketing campaign. It was proven on Calvary, where Jesus poured out his life for us. That love is yours, right now, tomorrow, and every day after. It's meant to overflow into every relationship you have, every conversation, every act of service. If this helped you think more biblically about love, holidays, and everyday obedience, subscribe, drop a like, and share your feedback in the comments section below. Share this with a brother or sister who's feeling the February pressure or wondering how to navigate these cultural moments. And remember, the greatest love wasn't signed with a heart on a card. It was signed in blood on a cross, and it's available 365 days a year. Now go live it out, today, tomorrow, and every day after.